Have you ever felt like you're screaming into the void, begging for just one sign that someone, somewhere, is listening to your pain? You're not crazy. You're not alone. And you're definitely not imagining it. Right now, as you listen to these words, something extraordinary is happening. The universe, that vast, mysterious force you've probably cursed at, pleaded with, or given up on entirely, is actually responding to every desperate thought racing through your mind. But here's what's breaking your heart. You've been missing its answers. While you've been drowning in worry, second guessing every decision, and feeling like life is just one cruel joke after another, the universe has been trying to reach you. It's been placing people in your path, creating those weird coincidences you brush off, and sending you messages through the very experiences that feel like they're destroying you. Why does this keep happening to you? Why do you keep attracting the same toxic relationships, the same financial struggles, the same crushing disappointments? Because somewhere deep inside, beneath all that hope and determination you show the world, you're broadcasting a signal of pain, fear, and unworthiness that you don't even realize you're sending. And the universe? It's been listening to every word of that signal. Think about your darkest moments, those 3 a.m. nights when you couldn't sleep, when you felt completely lost and abandoned. Remember how you whispered those desperate prayers, those raw, honest confessions about how scared you really are. The universe heard every single word, but instead of the miracle you wanted, you got more chaos, more heartbreak, more proof that nothing good ever lasts. You started believing that maybe you're just not meant to be happy. Maybe some people get the fairy tale ending, and others, people like you, are meant to struggle forever. But what if everything you've been through, every tear you've cried, every night you've fallen asleep wondering if tomorrow will finally be different? What if it was all the universe trying to wake you up to something bigger than your pain? What if your broken heart is actually the most powerful transmitter you possess? The truth that no one wants to tell you is this: your suffering isn't meaningless. Your struggle isn't punishment. It's communication. Every emotion that feels like it's tearing you apart is actually a signal being broadcast into the universe, and it's been responding the only way it knows how, by giving you more of what you're putting out there. But here's where everything changes. Once you understand that your pain has been your prayer, your fear has been your request, and your doubt has been your order to the universe, you finally have the power to place a different order. The universe isn't ignoring you. It never was. It's been waiting for you to realize that you're not a victim of your circumstances. You're the author of them. You think you're broken, don't you? You think there's something fundamentally wrong with you because the same painful patterns keep destroying your life over and over again. Let me tell you something that might save you years of self-hatred. You're not broken. You're just broadcasting the wrong frequency. Right now, your heart is beating at a specific rhythm. Your thoughts are moving at measurable speeds. Even your pain has its own energetic signature, and whether you believe it or not, that signature is being transmitted into the world every single second. This isn't mystical nonsense. This is physics. You're like a walking radio station, constantly tuned to the frequency of your deepest beliefs about yourself. Why do you keep attracting people who abandon you? Because somewhere inside, you're broadcasting, "I'm not worth staying for." Why does money slip through your fingers? Because your heart transmits, I don't deserve abundance. You thought it was bad luck. You thought you were cursed, but you're not cursed. You're stuck on a frequency that's breaking your own heart. The universe isn't cruel, it's precise. It's a cosmic mirror reflecting exactly what you're putting out there, even pain you don't realize you're carrying. Your financial struggles aren't bad luck. They're because you whisper, there's never enough. Once you understand, you've been unconsciously ordering your own heartbreak, you finally have the power to place a different order. Your energy is betraying you right now. While you're desperately trying to convince the world and yourself that you're fine, your inner vibration is screaming a completely different story. And the universe? It only listens to what you're really feeling, not what you're pretending to feel. You've been doing this your whole life, haven't you? Saying you want love while your heart whispers, I'm not lovable. Claiming you want success while your soul believes, I don't deserve good things. You speak words of hope while your energy radiates fear, disappointment, and that crushing belief that nothing good ever lasts for people like you. Here's the brutal truth: energy doesn't lie. What you focus on grows. What you expect shows up. What you deeply believe becomes your reality. But most people are completely blind to the signal they're actually sending out. You think the universe responds to your prayers, your vision boards, your desperate midnight wishes? But the universe doesn't speak English, it speaks vibration. And right now, your vibration is telling a story you probably don't even realize you're broadcasting. Can you feel it? That heavy weight in your chest when you think about your future? That sinking feeling when good things start happening because you're already bracing for them to fall apart? That's your real frequency. That's what the universe is responding to. You can visualize your dream life all you want, but if you're still carrying the energy of someone who's been hurt too many times to hope again, guess what reality you're going to keep creating? This is why your life feels like it's stuck on repeat. This is why the same heartbreaks keep finding you. This is why success feels impossible and love feels dangerous. Your conscious mind wants one thing, but your energy is ordering something completely different. The moment you become aware of the signals you're unconsciously sending out, everything can shift. When you change your frequency, the universe has no choice but to respond differently. Most people live their entire lives believing life is happening to them. But what if life is actually happening because of the energy you're putting out there? What frequency are you broadcasting right now? Power of Affirmations. You've been lying to yourself for years, haven't you? Standing in front of the mirror, forcing yourself to say, I am confident, while your heart screams, I'm not enough. Repeating, I am successful, while your soul whispers, I always fail. And then you wonder why nothing changes. You wonder why those positive affirmations everyone talks about feel like empty words bouncing off the walls of your broken dreams. Here's what nobody tells you: your subconscious mind is listening to every word you say, but it's not stupid. It knows when you're lying. And right now, it's rejecting every desperate attempt you make to convince yourself you're someone you don't believe you are. Your subconscious isn't just some storage unit for memories. It's the operating system running your entire life. Every thought you think, every habit you can't break, every person you attract, it's all being controlled by programming that was installed when you were too young to question it. Remember when you were told you'd never amount to anything? When someone made you feel small, unworthy, not good enough? Those weren't just cruel words that hurt your feelings. They became the code running in your mind, shaping every decision you make without you even realizing it. And now, years later, you're trying to overwrite decades of "you're not enough" with a few minutes of "I am worthy." Do you see how unfair that fight is? But here's where everything changes. Affirmations aren't magic spells you cast, hoping the universe will grant your wishes. They're reprogramming tools, but only if you use them right. When you say, "I am worthy," don't just say it, feel it. Find one moment, just one tiny moment in your life where you actually felt worthy. Maybe it was when someone genuinely thanked you. Maybe it was when you helped a stranger. Hold on to that feeling. Let it fill your chest. Let it remind you that worthiness isn't something you have to earn. It's something you already are. Because here's the brutal truth. You've been doing affirmations your whole life. Every time you tell yourself, "I'm not good enough," that's an affirmation. Every time you say, "Nothing good ever happens to me," you're programming your subconscious. Every time you whisper, "I always mess things up," you're creating your reality. The question isn't whether affirmations work. They do work. They've been working against you for years. Your inner voice has been your worst enemy, constantly reinforcing every fear, every doubt, every limiting belief that keeps you trapped in a life that feels too small for your dreams. But what if you could flip the script? What if instead of using your words to tear yourself down, you use them to build yourself up? Not with fake positivity or desperate hope, but with deep, unshakable belief in who you're becoming. Your subconscious is listening right now. What are you going to tell it? What reality are you going to program it to create? The universe responds to vibration, but your subconscious responds to repetition with belief. When those two forces align, when your words carry the weight of genuine conviction, that's when miracles start looking like natural consequences. You've been begging the universe for answers while covering your ears, haven't you? Praying desperately for guidance while your mind races with 1,000 anxious thoughts, asking for signs while staring at your phone, completely blind to the miracles unfolding right in front of your face. And then you wonder why you feel so alone, so abandoned, so lost in a world that seems deaf to your cries for help. Here's the heartbreaking truth. The universe has been screaming answers at you this entire time, but you've been too lost in your own mental chaos to hear a single word. Every moment you spend lost in worry is a moment you miss the guidance that's trying to reach you. Every second you waste replaying your failures is a second you're not present enough to receive the help that's already here. You're asking for direction while walking with your eyes closed, begging for love while your heart is locked shut with fear. Your mind isn't just some random thought generator, it's a movie projector. And the film it's playing on repeat is becoming your reality, whether you like it or not. Right now, as you're listening to this, there's a mental movie playing in your head. What are you watching? Is it the story of someone who overcomes, who finds love, who finally breaks free? Or is it the same tragic film you've been screening for years? The one where you're always the victim, always struggling, always just out of reach of happiness? Because here's what's devastating. that movie you keep playing in your mind. The universe thinks it's your order. It thinks that's what you want more of. You call it worry, but the universe calls it a request. You call it anxiety, but the universe sees it as detailed instructions for what kind of life to create for you. Every time you replay that scene where you get rejected, where you fail, where you're not enough, you're literally practicing for that reality to show up again. Your brain can't tell the difference between what you're vividly imagining and what's actually happening. When you picture yourself failing that job interview over and over, your body produces the same stress hormones as if you were actually sitting in that room being rejected. When you imagine your heart being broken again, your nervous system responds as if the betrayal is happening right now. This is why your worst fears keep coming true. Not because you're cursed, but because you've been unconsciously rehearsing them every single day. But what if you could flip this power? What if instead of accidentally creating your nightmares, you could intentionally create your dreams? The same mind that's been working against you can work for you, but only if you stop treating visualization like some fairy tale fantasy and start treating it like the powerful reality shaping tool it actually is. It's not enough to just picture what you want. You have to feel it. You have to step inside that vision and live there for a moment. When you imagine success, you need to feel the relief flooding your chest. When you picture love, you need to feel the warmth spreading through your entire body. When you visualize abundance, you need to feel the security settling into your bones. Because the universe doesn't respond to your desperate wishes. It responds to what you embody, what you become in those quiet moments when you're brave enough to feel worthy of your dreams. Think about it. How many times have your worst case scenarios actually happened? How many of your fears have materialized exactly as you imagined them? That wasn't coincidence. That was your unconscious mind creating precisely what you were most afraid of. If your mind is powerful enough to create your fears, don't you think it's powerful enough to create your dreams? Prayer, meditation, and presence. You've been praying wrong your entire life, haven't you? Down on your knees, begging some distant God to fix your broken heart, to send you money you desperately need, to bring back the love that walked away. And when nothing changes, when your prayers feel like they're bouncing off an empty sky, you start believing you're not worthy of being heard. But what if I told you that every desperate prayer you've whispered in the dark has been pushing away the very thing you're asking for? Here's what's breaking your heart. You've been praying from the wound, not from the healing. Every time you beg the universe to change your circumstances, you're broadcasting loud and clear that you're powerless, that you're lacking, that you need someone else to save you from your own life. And the universe? It hears that desperation in your voice and gives you more reasons to feel desperate. Real prayer isn't about begging, it's about becoming. It's not about convincing some cosmic force to throw you a bone. It's about aligning yourself with the reality you know you deserve. When you pray with certainty instead of desperation, when you declare instead of plead, when you speak as someone who already has what they're asking for, that's when miracles stop feeling like accidents and start feeling like natural consequences. But here's where most people get lost. They think prayer is a one-way conversation. They talk, they ask, they demand, but they never stop to listen for the answer. That's where meditation comes in. And no, meditation isn't some mystical practice reserved for enlightened monks sitting cross legged on mountain tops. It's simply learning to shut up long enough to hear what the universe has been trying to tell you. Your mind is like a radio stuck between stations, all static, no signal. You're asking for guidance while your thoughts are screaming so loud you can't hear the whispered directions trying to reach you. You're begging for signs while your mental noise drowns out every message being sent your way. When was the last time you sat in complete silence? When was the last time you turned off your phone, stopped planning, stopped worrying, stopped trying to control every outcome, and just listened? The universe has been sending you answers this entire time. In the stranger who said exactly what you needed to hear. In the book that fell off the shelf at the perfect moment. In the opportunity that appeared out of nowhere right when you needed it most. You called them coincidences because you weren't present enough to recognize them as responses. And that's the missing piece: presence. You can pray with all the faith in the world and meditate for hours every day. But if you're not actually here, if you're lost in regrets about yesterday or anxious about tomorrow, you'll miss every single message the universe sends. The universe doesn't exist in your past mistakes or your future fears. It only speaks in this moment, right now, in the space between your thoughts, in the pause between your heartbeats. How many miracles have you missed because you were too busy scrolling through your phone? How many signs have you ignored because you were too caught up in your own mental drama to notice them? How many answers have been placed right in front of you while you were looking somewhere else? You think you're waiting for the universe to respond, but the universe is waiting for you to show up. It's waiting for you to stop running from this moment, stop escaping into distractions, stop numbing yourself with endless noise. The conversation you've been desperately trying to have, it's already happening. The question isn't whether the universe is listening. The question is, are you present enough to hear its response? Writing to the universe. You've been carrying your deepest desires in your heart, like secrets too painful to speak out loud, haven't you? Dreams that feel too big, too impossible, too dangerous to even whisper in the dark. And so they stay trapped inside you, growing heavier with each passing day, suffocating under the weight of your own doubt. But what if I told you that those unspoken dreams are slowly killing your soul? Right now, your thoughts are scattered like leaves in a storm. One moment you want success, the next, you're terrified of failure. One moment you crave love, the next, you're convinced you don't deserve it. Your mind is a battlefield where hope and fear wage war every single day. And the universe is watching this chaos, completely confused about what you actually want. How can the universe give you what you desire when you can't even decide what that is? This is why you need to write it down. Not because words on paper are magical, but because the act of writing forces you to get brutally honest with yourself. It forces you to stop hiding behind vague wishes and face the truth of what your heart is really screaming for. When you sit down with a blank page, something extraordinary happens. All those swirling thoughts, all those competing desires, all those fears disguised as dreams, they have to organize themselves. They have to become clear. They have to become real. And in that moment of clarity, something shifts inside you. You stop being someone who hopes and become someone who declares. You stop being someone who wishes and become someone who knows. Think about every important moment in human history. It started with someone putting words on paper. Every law that changed the world, every love letter that sparked a lifetime together, every contract that built empires. Words, when written with intention, don't just describe reality, they create it. Your letter to the universe isn't just a request, it's a declaration of who you're becoming. It's you finally having the courage to speak your truth, not just to yourself, but to the forces that shape your life. But here's what most people get wrong: they write from desperation, they pour their pain onto the page, begging for rescue, pleading for someone else to fix their broken life, and wonder why nothing changes. Receiving signs and messages. You've been screaming at the universe for answers while covering your ears with your hands, haven't you? Desperately begging for signs, for guidance, for just one clear message that you're on the right path. And when the universe whispers back, you're too busy drowning in your own noise to hear a single word. This is why you feel so lost, so abandoned, so completely alone in a world that seems indifferent to your pain. But here's what's breaking my heart: the universe has been sending you messages every single day, every single hour, every single moment, and you've been dismissing them as coincidences, as random events, as meaningless noise in an already chaotic life. That person who called you exactly when you were thinking about them, that wasn't luck. That song that keeps playing everywhere you go, the one with lyrics that speak directly to your situation, that wasn't chance. Those numbers you keep seeing, 1111, 222, 333, showing up on clocks, receipts, license plates, that wasn't your imagination. The universe has been trying to get your attention, but you've been looking for fireworks when it's speaking in whispers. You want God Himself to write your name in the clouds, don't you? You want some booming voice from heaven to tell you exactly what to do, when to do it, and how everything will work out. But that's not how this works. The universe speaks in the language of synchronicity, in the subtle dance of events that seem too perfect to be random. And you? You've been trained to ignore your own intuition, to dismiss that gut feeling that knows things your mind hasn't figured out yet. You've been taught that if you can't explain it logically, it doesn't matter. So when your heart whispers, "This is important," you silence it with logic. When your soul screams, "Pay attention," you drown it out with doubt. Remember that time you had a sudden urge to take a different route home, and later found out there was a massive accident on your usual path. Remember when you felt compelled to call an old friend, only to discover they desperately needed to hear from you? Remember when you almost didn't go to that event where you met someone who changed your life forever? Those weren't accidents. Those were the universe moving mountains to keep you safe, to connect you with what you needed, to guide you toward your destiny. But you called them luck because believing in guidance felt too scary, too uncertain, too much like giving up control. Here's what you don't understand: the universe doesn't work on your timeline. It doesn't deliver answers like some cosmic Amazon delivery service, showing up exactly when you ordered them. Sometimes the answer is a delay that saves you from disaster. Sometimes it's a rejection that redirects you towards something better. Sometimes it's silence that forces you to look within and find the strength you never knew you had. You keep asking, why isn't anything happening? When you should be asking, what is this trying to teach me? You keep demanding immediate results when the universe is orchestrating a masterpiece that requires perfect timing. The answers you're desperately seeking aren't going to come in the neat little package you're expecting. They're going to come disguised as ordinary moments, chance encounters, sudden insights that hit you in the shower. They're going to arrive as obstacles that push you in a new direction, as losses that make room for something better, as delays that align you with divine timing. But only if you're present enough to recognize them. Only if you're brave enough to trust what you feel instead of just what you think. Becoming the message. The universe stopped listening to you years ago, not because it doesn't care, but because you've been speaking a language it doesn't understand, the language of desperation, of lack, of someone who believes they're powerless in their own life. Every prayer whispered in the dark, every wish blown on a dandelion, every desperate bargain made at 3 a.m. when the world felt too heavy to carry. They've all been bouncing off the walls of your own doubt, never reaching the cosmic ears you thought were ignoring you. But what if I told you that you're not the victim in this story? What if you're actually the author and you've just been writing yourself as powerless? Here's the truth that will either set you free or terrify you. You are not separate from the universe. You are not some small, insignificant speck floating in an indifferent cosmos. You are the universe experiencing itself through your eyes, through your heart, through every breath you take. Every thought that races through your mind is reshaping reality. Every emotion flooding your chest is sending out waves of energy that the world responds to. Every belief buried deep in your soul is broadcasting instructions for what kind of life to create around you. And right now, you're creating the life of someone who waits, who hopes, who begs for scraps from a universe that's actually trying to hand you the keys to the kingdom. The question isn't, why won't the universe give me what I want? The real question is, who am I being right now? Because the universe doesn't respond to your desperate prayers. It responds to your energy, your frequency, your state of being. Think about those rare moments when everything just flowed, when the right person appeared at the perfect time, when opportunities opened like doors you didn't even know existed, when you felt unstoppable, magnetic, alive. What were you being in those moments? What energy were you carrying? In those moments, you weren't begging, were you? You weren't waiting for permission or proof. You were simply being the version of yourself who naturally attracts miracles. The universe has been waiting for you to remember who you really are. Not the broken, desperate person you pretend to be when things get hard. Not the victim of circumstances you can't control. But the powerful creator who shapes reality with every heartbeat. You don't need to force anything to happen. You don't need to chase, manipulate, or control outcomes. You just need to stop being the person who lacks and start being the person who already has. Stop being the person who waits and start being the person who creates. The moment you embody the energy of what you desire, not just think about it, not just hope for it, but actually become it, the universe has no choice but to rearrange itself around your new frequency. Conscious creation. Something magical happens the moment you stop begging and start declaring. The moment you put your deepest truth on paper and release it into the world with the kind of certainty that makes angels weep. You set forces in motion that will move heaven and earth to bring your words to life. But most people, they're sleepwalking through their own creation story. Right now, as you listen to this, you're creating your reality, not tomorrow, not when you figure it all out, not when you finally become worthy enough. Right now. Every doubt that creeps into your mind, every fear that tightens your chest, every moment you catch yourself thinking, this will never work, you're literally sculpting your future with those thoughts. And then you wonder why your life feels like a broken record, playing the same sad song over and over again. Here's what's breaking your heart. You've been sending the universe mixed messages your entire life. 1 minute, you're visualizing your dreams with tears of hope in your eyes. The next minute, you're checking your bank account and reinforcing every limiting belief about money you've ever had. One moment, you're affirming, I am worthy of love. The next moment, you're scrolling through your ex's social media, reopening wounds that prove you're not. Do you see the contradiction? Do you feel how you're literally canceling out your own prayers? The universe isn't some cosmic vending machine where you insert your wishes and wait for results. It's a mirror, the most accurate, unforgiving mirror you'll ever encounter. And right now, it's reflecting back exactly what you truly believe about yourself, not what you pretend to believe. When you say you want success but spend your days consumed with worry about failure, what do you think the universe hears? When you claim you're ready for love, but your heart is still locked behind walls built from past betrayals, what energy do you think you're broadcasting? The universe doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your being. It doesn't care what you say you want, it cares who you are in this moment, what frequency you're vibrating at, what story you're telling yourself when no one else is listening. This is why your manifestations feel like they're moving through molasses. This is why you keep attracting the same painful experiences. This is why you feel like the universe has forgotten your address. But here's where everything changes. What if instead of chasing your dreams, you started embodying them? What if instead of hoping for love, you became the person who naturally attracts it? What if instead of wishing for abundance, you started moving through the world with the unshakable knowing that you are abundance? When challenges show up after you've set an intention, and they will, most people panic. They think the universe is testing them, punishing them, proving that their dreams are impossible. But those challenges aren't roadblocks, they're upgrades. They're the universe saying, you asked to become someone new. So here are all the old patterns that need to die for that person to be born. The question isn't whether your dreams will manifest. The question is, will you hold your vision long enough for reality to reshape itself around your new frequency? Because here's the truth that will either liberate you or terrify you. The universe doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. Conclusion. This isn't a magic trick you perform once and walk away from. This isn't some weekend workshop wisdom that fades by Monday morning. This is who you become. This is how you breathe. This is the truth you carry in your bones every single day for the rest of your life. You don't get to dabble in your own power. You don't get to believe in yourself only when it's convenient, only when things are going well, only when doubt isn't clawing at your chest in the middle of the night. This is about knowing, not hoping, not wishing, not crossing your fingers behind your back, but knowing with every cell in your body that you were never powerless. never lost. Never separate from the force that creates galaxies and makes flowers bloom. The universe isn't sitting in some distant throne room deciding whether you're worthy. It's flowing through your veins right now. It's beating in your heart. It's whispering in your soul. The moment you stop waiting for permission and start living as the creator you've always been, reality bends. Not because you begged for it, but because you finally remembered who you are. Are you ready to stop pretending you're small